Where are you going, Maya?
She's on the move. It's a not-so-typical morning in the Wilkinson household. Mom Sarah is busy taking something out of the oven. More on that later.
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
While the journalist plays with her daughter Maya, the 10-year-old with a beautiful smile and sadly an ugly, rare, debilitating disease.
You're figuring that out, aren't you?
Look at that. Hi, smile for the camera. Say hi.
To look at her now, it's hard to imagine what they've both been through right from the time she was born.
My smiley girl.
These are some of the earliest that you really took, I guess.
Yeah, she was maybe 4 or 5 when I...
In those early years, it was hard for Sarah to take many pictures of little Maya. From the moment she was delivered and rushed to pediatric intensive care, she knew something was drastically wrong.
I was talking to the nurse, and the nurse said, let me take her. She took her to look at her, put her down, and she had a seizure. And she was 29 minutes old.
An EEG confirmed the worst, a suppression burst pattern indicative of a rare form of epilepsy known as Odahara.
This must have come as one heck of a shock.
I was devastated. Her neurologist at the time in Ontario sat us down, and my husband and I were sitting on couches, and he gave us a diagnosis, and it didn't mean anything to me, the name. So I asked him, what is her prognosis? And he said, you'll be lucky if you get to take her home.
But she did make it home, and what came next was months and indeed years of adjusting medications, trying to find something to slow down the constant seizures.
Her seizures were probably once every 5 minutes or so. She would have hundreds a day. So basically what she was doing was sleeping and seizing.
And how severe were they?
They were pretty, like her oxygen would dip. Sometimes it would dip to the 30s. She would turn blue.
Must have been frightening you to death.
It was horrifying. It was absolutely horrifying.
The family rallied. Her husband, the boys, both healthy, gladly took on the task of caring for their little sister, and others helped too. Online, she could find comfort and ideas from families in similar circumstances. Samantha Cameron, the wife of British Prime Minister David Cameron, was part of her support group for a time. Their little boy Ivan was also born with Odahara.
It was comforting to find support. I don't know how I would have gotten through those early days without them. Family is important, but nobody knows what you go through. No. Those people do, though.
But one by one, the drugs were failing or causing more problems than they fixed.
You thought you were losing her.
That's what our neurologist said. Sometimes there's just nothing left for us to do. We brought her home. I told my boys. That was the absolute hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life. So, we just kind of prepared and talked and, what we wanted to do and how we wanted things to go and if we wanted her cremated or awful conversations no parent should ever have.
A last desperate chance to save her daughter brought her online, where other parents were talking about the wonders of cannabis oil. Sarah decided she had nothing to lose.
There were no children with Odahara at the time who had tried it. So she was the first, and...
How soon before you saw a response?
Immediately. We saw, that day, seizures just weren't there. She wasn't seizing.
She obtained a prescription for medical marijuana. That's what she was taking out of the oven, which she turns into cannabis oil for Maya.
I'm just putting in 250 mils of coconut oil.
She has developed a process to extract the oil to get a 1-to-1 ratio of THC to CBD, the active ingredients in marijuana that have changed her daughter's life. the whole family's life, really.
Are you happy?
It means that we all can breathe, I guess, a little bit. We've always felt like, we're just holding our breath, waiting.
Yeah.
Now it's just so much different. We can do things as a family. My 16-year-old can watch her, no issue. I don't have to worry about a major medical emergency, and having like nursing staff here.
After 6 months, they performed another EEG at sick kids and were astounded by the results.
He said that it was completely normal, and he said miracles happen in the email.
And indeed, he did. So when her doctor wrote, not a month later, to say, due to the strict nature of the policy implemented here at Children, I am not allowed to fill the forms for renewal of medical marijuana. I apologize for the inconvenience this may cause. She was stunned. She decided to go public, a website,
I can almost see it.
a powerful video,
That is a prolonged seizure.
and media interviews.
A lot of people said that I was stupid. Even friends, family told me to just shut my mouth. I'm basically inviting the police and social services to my door, but I thought, well, you can come because nothing else has ever worked, and if she stops this treatment, she'll die. So it wasn't really an option. I wasn't going to stop treatment. That was just not even an option for me.
Even if it turned you into a
Absolutely.
criminal.
I would have gone to jail. I mean, I think any one of us would die for our children. Going to jail is a walk in the park compared to that. So, and watching her like she used to be is just something that I'll never do again.
As luck would have it, a doctor at a clinic in Ontario heard of her plight and helped her acquire a prescription. Even so, Alberta Health, which oversees the Children's Hospital, still says it does not support the prescription of medical marijuana for pediatric patients with epilepsy. And Health Canada's website is even broader. Dried marijuana is not an approved drug or medicine in Canada. But the courts have required reasonable access to a legal source of marijuana when authorized by a healthcare practitioner.
I have a name for it, but
What is it?
well, it's bureaucratic bullshit. It is.
What do you say to the people that say, but you're giving drugs to your daughter?
And I have run into a few of those people, and the drugs that she was on before, ketamine is a horse tranquilizer. I mean, when she's getting codeine and morphine for pain, and 3 different benzodiazepines, and then throw in a barbiturate, and ketamine when she's in hospital, or propofol, which is what Michael Jackson overdosed on. I mean, it's just look at those drugs, and tell them to go smoke a joint, and then go take any one of the pills that she was on, and just one of them, and she was in combinations of 6 or 7. So it's a no-brainer.
And every day she hears from at least one parent, and there have been hundreds, looking for help for their child.
It's a political game, but there are people's lives that are at stake because of this, and that sounds so cliche, but there really is.
The only medication little Maya now takes
Open.
is cannabis oil, twice a day.
Good job.
She has not had a seizure in over 2 years.
You ready for bed, Missy? Oh, goodness.
The difference, her mom says, is like the difference between night
Good night, baby girl.
and day.
You ready? 1, 2, 3, out we go.
Sarah doesn't know what the future will bring, what new challenges, and she knows there still needs to be more clinical evidence to convince some people. But no one can tell her that medical marijuana hasn't changed her daughter's, indeed her whole family's life. Just look at that smile. Red Sharon, CBC News, in Airdrie, Alberta.